live. We're live. If you are replaying, we are breaking down the ongoing or what's about to happen, this significant East Coast storm that's going on. We'll have, bring heavy snow, especially to Canada. We won't focus on that, but strong wind, heavy rainfall, significant flooding, and real cold and lake effect snow on the backside. So we'll be breaking that all down. And we'll just wait, a minute here for people to filter in. And if you're replaying, go ahead and skip on the chapters, and you can skip ahead to where we start. Let's open up a YouTube chat here. Let's also get the thumbnail going too. Alrighty. Get it going. How are we doing, everybody? What is going on? Alright. See, we got X chat. Bart, how are we doing, my guy? What is up? What's up? Let's get cooking here. I think we're just about all set. Let me slide back here. Boom. Alrighty. Alright. Let's get a poll going. So if you're in X, I'm gonna put a poll in the YouTube. I'm gonna put a poll in YouTube. I'm gonna try to keep doing this more now. No, don't cue it. I want to watch it. There we go. And we'll let it go for the whole time. Let's see. Come on up. I gotta press play to create the poll. Let's see. Let's see. Over, under 30, we'll say 33.5 inches for lake effect snow. New York. If you're in the X chat, you want to put that, you can either type it or whatever. For a max total. Alrighty. Get here. Let's get cooking. So we got a big storm coming, ladies and gentlemen. Real big storm. You can see it right here on 500, the one we've been talking about for days now. Here's a 500 millibar of vort here. Oh, I forgot the pen tool. Shame on me. But you can see there at 500, right? That's our big old storm that's going to be rolling through here, and that's what's going to be causing problems. You can see big old trough for deep tapping into a lot of moisture and warm air, and we're going to be tapping into that, up here in the northeast for many people. So if we slide here, this pen will show, right? We're bringing a lot, like we got cold air coming on the backside, right? Let's break it down simply, right here. TPV here is a little stretched part of our polar vortex here. You can see tapping into, for some, what will be the coldest air of this for a good amount, especially here in the upper Midwest and here in upstate New York too. It's going to get pretty cold. It will for the much of the Northeast as well, and northeastern part of the United States. This whole section here is going to get some pretty cold temperatures after this storm, but we're getting this real deep access of tropical moisture that's going to insert this low level jet here is going to help bring up strong not only heavy rainfall, but it's also going to bring down strong winds across this specifically the East Coast. And on the other side of that, then is potentially some side here, and then lake effect snow will break out again. We'll see 2 to 3 plus feet. Surely 33 inches. That's exactly what I got. Good over under. I thought it was good over under. Um, Fortunately, you can't make any money off this bet. So just more for fun. But we do have a significant. It's a significant all around storm just because I think the overall amount of hazards are being underestimated. I think after this storm happens, I think people are going to be like, "Wow, this thing was really big." I really don't think this is getting the attention that it should. I'm not sure if it's being not hyped up enough. Whatever people make hype can be a controversial word. Attention might be a better one, but you know there needs to be a lot of attention. And, we talked about how in different aspects of the analysis side here at 500, we were looking at it and saying, a couple days ago, this isn't going to develop further west based on the trough and where that head of the upper level low is, is looking to consolidate. And sure enough, here, you look what happened now. That's exactly what's that we're consolidating further west here. You can see, and this is your axis of follow is here earlier. People getting it. We shifted a good, 80 something miles, maybe, I don't know, give or take 50 to 100 miles, westward over the past couple of days. And we're going to see, upper level low develop. And right here is your opportunity for snow. It's developing a little bit later. Um, so I'd be concerned about anywhere in here be able to get into much of it, but further north, northern PA, New York should be able to get in on some of the snow, and then everybody else is going to be rain pretty much. And then we go here to, if we go to the lower levels here, oh, that's upper levels. These are 925 here on the GFS. A little bit more, just a little bit east, just barely. Some of these models over the past, with the core of the low level jet, just like the core of it developing a little bit later on some of these model runs compared previously. It's harder to tell over today. It's been rather consistent from last night. It did shift just a little bit east to the core of the low level jet here, right? So our wins again break 925. I love breaking this down. It's very simple. Um, a lot of people, can get confused sometimes with all the colors and numbers and going out on the map. Like, what is this? It's just this is imagine a vertical atmosphere here, and imagine, right, 500 millibars, 700 millibars, 850. We'll draw this a little bit lower here, and then imagine, right, this is where we're looking 925 now, and then this is the surface, right? So with all these parameters I'm looking at over here, I chose 925, right, because it's the wind just above the surface, and oftentimes you can tap into that. You can tap into those stronger winds when you have these warmer temperatures we're going to have and heavy precipitation. You're going to be able to mix down these stronger winds from higher levels of the atmosphere above, and that's going to allow for winds to take place potentially. Take a look at some of those winds. Oh no, this came back again. Go back with that. There we go. Oh, look, I figured it out. If we go to winds here, surface wind, we can take a look and see, some of these winds, GFS, maybe a little bit further east, with the core of these winds on the front, but we'll see how this plays out. Not that these regions aren't favored for more, so maybe right for the wrong reasons, or just might end up being right. But you can see a good portion of 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts with the outer Cape, potentially Long Island, seeing 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. And it's kind of where you got to do a little bit of reduction when you're looking at a lot of these models. It's a little bit difficult by end. To a lot of these outputs they just overdo it consistently. You can see 86 mile per hour gusts. No, go back. There we go. Figured it out there. Hyped about that. You don't know how much I was struggling with that. Uh, and then you can look at a different model. For example, go to the RGM, which often is lower with a lot of models. But look at this. I mean, our RGM here, we can go zoom in a little bit. We go to the eastern US, take a look. I mean, these are some strong winds. You don't see them often that strong. And look at the lake effect too after. Those winds get real, likely blizzard conditions with the lake effect. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the lake effect, possibly blizzard conditions going on in a little bit, unlike the last lake effect event, which did have what was windy, but not like it's going to be now. And that's due to a lot as well. We have a real strong low pressure system that's moving through here. That's going to get, eventually it's going to get into the 960s, even 950, into 950s maybe. Some models are suggesting. But here, RGM's a notoriously um, conservative model when it comes to wind gusts, and you can see here spread 50 to 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts here from Maine down even into South Carolina. So all across the eastern U.S. is at play here for strong wind. And again, it matches up here. We go a little bit higher into the atmosphere. We go to upper air wind. We go to 850. Our 850 through here. You can see the timing here. Wednesday tomorrow PM is really blowing. Tomorrow morning is when it starts getting going further south into the Carolinas. But you can see that low-level jet start cranking here. This is 850, right? So we talked about it. Um, we talked about, let's say this was 925. Oh boy. And right above that is 50 millibars in the atmosphere. Right, millibars is how it's measured. Um, right, it's just a good vertical snapshot of the atmosphere. We're going up one level here, 850, a little bit higher, so a little bit tougher to mix down, but it it still very demonstrates the low level jet. John, how are we doing? You passing me over? How long does Foxborough gust, highest gust escalons? We will talk about the specifics in 1 second. In 1 second. But here you can see welcome, Lance, as well. I'm not sure if I've seen you before, but um, so we slide here. Look at the low level jet, right? The timing here of it, these low level jet, and it really starts to get cranky here on the RGM, right? If I look at the RGM, it gets the core of this a little bit earlier going. Um, the low level jet here and suggests, um, real concern here for Eastern Mass. I mean, look at this. This is almost a level jet here. That's extremely concerning. Um, be able to. There's a little bit of a reduction that goes on with this, but I mean, over 100 knot low level jet. This ends up turning to 104 knots. Which is about 120. That's a Category 3 hurricane going on, right? So oftentimes the low level jet when it gets cranking, you can hear it start to roar. You ever hear the roar? You know, when it's really windy, even in between gusts, you can just hear that whooshing go on. This is going to be one of those evenings, one of those days. You're going to hear that roar going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere here. It's that wind you can hear, and it's going to be all the way, from even down into Georgia, down here, going up into northern New England, all across. So all up north here, that low level jet is going to get cranking, and it's really going to get cranking overhead in Delmarva and then into Long Island. and eastern, especially eastern New England, but some parts outside too. We could look at wall line moves through. Could get some 40 to 50 plus mile per hour wind gusts in western New England, up the Hudson Valley, and up into NYC metro as well. In terms of specifics, we can zoom in a little bit more here. We go to the northeast. You can see the low level jet cranking right overhead my house. Uh, a little scary. I don't like the power going out. Don't prefer it. And a reminder: if you're in the stream right now and you consider leaving a like, consider leaving a like if you're enjoying the content here and subscribing if you're new. Continuing to expand here this winter means a lot. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to be present. Storms this winter, we're going to be covering, and I'm going to be here for it. So consider doing that. As we slide here to the surface winds here, we'll take a look here. Yes, we will. So your surface wind gust on the RTM, and I kind of like this. This idea. It's a good outline of what to expect here. Relatively. I think. Um, Actually, I want to slide to radar. And I'm going to go to GFS, or I'm going to go to NAM, go to 3K, and we're going to go to radar. Northeast. You can see the lake effect cranking. We'll talk about lake effect coming up as well soon. My man Bart's waiting. But this is the peak time frame here. You can notice as the heaviest rain comes through. Here's kind of the timeline here. Don't look at it verbatim. Potentially some freezing precipitation to worry about in Maine and some of the higher elevations potentially in New England tomorrow morning. But this rain's going to move through, and we'll start to see that heavier rain move through throughout the afternoon and evening, especially across the Northeast. This will get going night here at places further into the Carolina, and this will get going in the morning Carolinas, and and then over the afternoon, Delmarva and uh, places further north and east start again. You can see that squall line start develop. This is when the strongest wind gusts will likely come through with that squall line just out of it. You can see some of these, um, you know, pretty convective squall line cells here that get out ahead. This is maybe where you look at for potential severe weather too that align like best with the low level jet that we talked about. Go to upper dynamics. We gotta slide out again. Regions, Eastern US. Now, can I get my low level jet? No. Okay, we go NAM 12. Doesn't matter. Upper dynamic. Oh, I was clicking lower. Dumbass. 3K, we get it here too. Right, right, NAM 3K. Wow, really gets that jet core going. Right, pretty far west here. Is that farther west than last run? Indeed. Wow, that's a big shift in a run. We'll see. Um, Any significant 50, 60 mile shifts run to run the night before are always a little strange. A little bit of a red flag sometimes, but you can see here. This is the timing here. Wednesday afternoon. You can see it coincides here. You can see where your low level jet is, and then as rain's moving through, you see how your strongest winds are confined just to the east here of this convective squall line. But you can see right the core of your low level jet. If we go back, notice we hinted where our squall line is, and then if we go to 850, you see how the strongest winds in the core, is way out ahead. So any cells that pop here, um, have a high threat potentially for severe weather for damage and potentially. Very very low tornado threat. There's some in the Carolinas. It's likely almost non-existent. For areas in eastern New England. We can take a look at Storm Prediction Center, what they're highlighting here. But that timeline for strongest wind gusts is really as the jet core moves over here. So really Wednesday afternoon into through Wednesday evening will be that peak frame for the heaviest winds. really until about midnight here in Mass. Just before then, across central and southern New England, southern central New England. So that's kind of the time frames with peak heavy winds, strongest winds, and also going further south. Jersey, we'll look at it in the afternoon to evening as well, and Long Island will be um, during during late afternoon into the early evening as well. So that's kind of the time frame for where exactly the strongest wind gusts come through. Really follow the squall line, and the few hours out ahead of it in front, and during is will be when will that time frame you see a strong low pressure system developing there, right? It's real strong, real fast. Right, dropping 20 plus millibars, right? 20-hour period there. So it's going to get real strong, um, and there's going to be heavy snow also on the backs. We'll get into that aspect after, but I think the strong wind is really the most concern for potentially widespread power outages, and also just damage as well with down trees, power lines, and limbs, and then along with um, we do oftentimes see with strong droughts that a lot of these trees are a little bit weaker. So we had a big drought this fall, so I'd be a little bit concerned that some of these trees and limbs might be a little bit more susceptible than usual. So keep an eye on that for potential for not only power outages but damage as well. So that's kind of concerned with the wind gusts there. But we can take a look here. The NAM wind gusts, I'm sure be a little bit high, but you can see they're just more widespread. It likely won't be that widespread. 55. It won't be that widespread, 60 plus miles per hour. But we will see. Um, we will be looking at this threat for 60 to 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts for this region here for sure. And then out ahead it'll be 5 to 60 plus or 45 to 55 plus mile per hour wind gusts back into these regions here more. So and Long Island is an exception. They'll be right on the water, and they'll be pretty close. A little bit easier right on the water to get those stronger winds at the surface. And then coastal New Jersey will be a close call, I think. I could see them, maxing out 50, and I could see them maxing out 70. So it'll be a little bit of a close call, I think. On Jersey coast, it really depends on how early the core of that low-level jet gets cranking. That's really the key for places further south. I think we look at temperatures here. Surface temperatures. Slide here. 2 weeks Fahrenheit. This is right. The cold front moves through. We get cold after. Look for potential flash freeze threat as well. Potential. It's harder than a lot of people think this time with some of these events, but it's possible. So one thing I will say, we've held, since last night, temperatures, still get, upper 50s and 60s. I really think the threshold here is going to be that 60-degree mark kind of is going to be, besides, the far outer Cape here. I think that will be is where there's where you really see like these yellows here really fold out. That will be your strongest threat for the big wind. Um, and that's where we'll look at. Those warmer temperatures make it easier to mix down stronger wind gusts, like we've been talking about for the past couple days now. So look for that. For you're gonna get warm here in those 50s and 60s. You're gonna if you're not getting into upper 50s here, that wind gust threat can lower a little bit. So I think kind of 58, 59 is kind of that. It will be somewhere around there. There'll be a cutoff. People that are in the mid to low 50s, probably don't have to worry about the damaging wind gust threat as much. Besides the outer Cape and islands. So that's where I look at in terms of those stronger wind gusts moving through. But here in the Carolinas, you can see, right, we get into the 70s even in the Carolinas down here, 60s and 70s in the Southeast Virginia and Eastern Carolina, up to, and then get into low mid 60s here in Delmarva. So I really think they'll be able, even though the core of the low level jet won't be over them, I think they'll be able. Area here will still be able to get some pretty strong winds. Might be a little bit more confined to the eastern section of Delmarva, but look for some to still get some pretty strong wind gusts, 50, 60 plus mile per hour wind gust threat. I would say for some of those regions as well. Next, the flood threat. The flood threat is real. Um, right, we have all this snowpack here. These are current temperatures. Dam analysis. Look at our CAD here, holding for the moment, holding that cold air in. So it's not gonna last long, but it did make today was pretty cold actually. Today was below average for many people, so um, it was a little bit miserable, it was a little bit foggy, and you know, uh, this thing out there. So we went warm to cold quick. We had snowpack melt across some of the area, and just all that, and it just made it real messy and foggy. And ugh. But we look here at preset, preset right. You see it coming through here. We can go 3 hour. Um, we have all this heavy rain that needs to come through. Again, the heaviest doesn't start until really the afternoon for most people, and then you can see that small line that comes through will bring a lot of rainfall in a quick period of time. Will really be confined. The heaviest rainfall, like we talked about, really a 6 to 9 hour period across the afternoon and evening. Um, you know, this period here is where it's going. And you look at heavy rainfall, even behind the squall line too. There'll be heavy rainfall that still needs to come through after. And the real concern is here. I look at Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. They still have a lot of their snowpack here. I look at this region. I look at this region here. A lot of their stack still in place, um, and this is going to just tear through it. These fees, they're going to get into the mid upper 50s. A lot of these places, and that is going to eat away at their snowpack and all this deep, warm tropical moisture. Up into New England here unseasonably, high and we're going to bring that all the way up here into Canada, and that's going to make a big problem for melting the snowpack. Look at some potential concern for flash flooding of rivers and also off of higher terrains as well, where there's a good amount of snowpack present in some of these higher elevation locations. And then you add 2 to 3 plus inches of rain on top of that. That really amplifies the situation because I can pull up here the total precip totals. Let's see here. Surface. I'm leaving for work. It's very possible, likely, I'll be on the snowstorm. You're leaving work at 8 a.m. Looking for there's a map. Good so far. There's the NAM 3K idea. Stay safe on the snowy side. You get to follow the rain snow line though potentially, so that should be fun. There's a GFS idea, 2 to 3 inches. Uh, Euro, 2 to 3 plus inches, and then we got Reggie, 2 to 3 plus even 4 inches of rain. This gives you an idea that it's going to be a lot of rainfall that comes, in a short period of time. It's not going to be extended out, over like a 36-hour stretch. This is all going to come in pretty much one day here, and most of that will come in a good, like, 6 to 10 hour period roughly for most people. So there's a real concern that this is going to enhance the flooding situation for people that especially have snowpack, and even without the snow, especially right before and during that squall line moving through, there'll definitely be a flooding concern here, where temperatures will be in the upper 50s and low 60s as well, and have higher dew points, and severe weather risk, which I forgot to mention. Uh, two, your day two risk, right? Tornado risk down in the Carolinas and Georgias, and your wind risk here goes into southern New England, right? So up into this whole area here, there's going to be a risk for damaging wind gusts along this squall line here that move through with the highest risk. In these higher temperatures, allows your deep to get higher in temperature as well. That allows for an increased likelihood, for severe weather. That higher dew point um, oftentimes means that the higher the dew point, allow your more moisture you're able to create just a more impactful severe weather. So yeah, that is the severe weather threat. It's really multifaceted. There's a lot of different interesting aspects for the storm, and I think it's what makes this storm kind of. You really think that the impacts after this storm, we're gonna look back after and that was a real that one was a doozy. That one was definitely damaging. I hope not. I hope not. Hopefully this will be maxed out 65-mile-per-hour gusts on the Cape, and inland is 45 to 55 miles per hour for most people, and it's not too much of a concern. But I think that low-level jet really cranking is gonna allow for a pretty prolific wind, damaging wind up along the East Coast here. So that's really my concern. My biggest concern with this system is that it's multifaceted with heavy rain, flooding, and severe weather, and also damaging wind too. After we were just in a drought so there's some concern there, like we talked about. That wind's going to be able to a little bit more damage given the drought. Some of those trees are susceptible after that widespread drought we had. So glad I can cover all this in depth, though I do, as dangerous as some of the storms are. I do love the meteorology behind it, and breaking it down. And if you love it too, consider liking the stream. Gotta keep, we gotta expand. We gotta expand. I know we have a good base here, but we gotta keep expanding. So remind you all, like the stream. So let's talk about the snow part of this storm now. We are going to be seeing some heavy snow with this system, and let's bring it back here to 500. We're back to 500 millibars here. We slide. I'm sure going to be Bart's favorite part of my segment, talking about here deep trough, right? So we talked about it. We're pulling in, right? It's really there's some excuse me, there's some parts of this setup. I looked at it in the beginning. I was like, yeah, this could be a real big snowstorm for somebody, and it is. It's just going to be mostly Canada. Unfortunately, you can see the head of the upper level low. We're still very, and a lot of this convection gets lost. But in the process, it's rainfall up for us too. We're bringing up the warm side, so heavier precipitation here on this eastern side of the storm, and then along here, it's really fall the 540 line easy. The heavy snow gets confined west of eastern Pennsylvania, across western Pennsylvania here, and then it keeps sliding northeast, northeast. It's upper level low here. So if I play it another frame, 24 hours. So you can do it. There we go. You can see it continues. to move a little east northeast and slide. GFS pops this open a little bit more, but you can see a real strong vort here. So even though we'll get dry, this cold air will come rushing on the backside. I would take the under a lot of the snow totals that get printed out here, but we do still have that heavy snow risk that comes in here. It could be brief. It's going to be a wet snow. It's probably not going to accumulate super well, but it will look cool, and that's what we like to see with snow. And the timing again, you break this down here. Some of the Smokies and the higher terrain mountains get into it. Let me refresh here. I think we should be farther along than we are, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, I always, keep playing this through. Again, a little bit later on the Euro, developing some of that heavy snow. Then I think the GFS, at least at 500, looking at it. Um, see if this, yeah, GFS. Uh, GFS has a little bit more of the snow getting in, especially up into, up here into Vermont. Some places could change here. Some flakes into Hudson, upper Hudson Valley, western New England. You could finish as some flakes, and those places will have more of a concern for a flash freeze threat, and we'll be looking at possibly some snow showers as well along with that, and maybe a brief burst of heavy snow for some people, but the heaviest of the snow gets confined across this region here, with this system along right where the upper level low is really looking to take off. And eventually we get really strong here. You can see this ends up being a real strong storm system here. It gets into the 960s. Even you can see 958 millibars up there on that Euro line. So it's going to bomb out the system. You can play here 10:05 at hour 9, 42 hours later, 9:58. So it's going to drop damn near 50 millibars in 42 hours. So this is gonna be a really strong storm system. Um, and behind it, you can see it brings in a lot of cold air, right? It brings up all this warm air. Look, warm air comes through into Newfoundland and it even gets up into Greenland. Look, the mix line gets brought up into Greenland. Look how much warm air this storm brings up. But also, look at all this cold air that gets brought around here. You can see the high pressure that comes in here on the backside. We get super cold on the backside here. Luckily, a lot of teens for a lot of people here with this system. And in doing so, we turn on the LES machine. So if we slide here to the northeast, vamos, vamos, vamos. All right, so there's the heavy snow. We can take a look at it sounding here. It's going to be a wet snow, folks. It's going to be a wet snow. This is actually not as bad. This is a better sound. This is heavy snow. This gets the job done. This is also a higher elevation, I should say. That's a good heavy snow sounding. That's different than what I saw, but some of those further east places, as you just switch, for example, take a look. That's real heavy wet snow, and you're not even well saturated too. You can have good lift, but you're not super well saturated. Um, past you need to be. This is your dendritic growth zone line right here, -20, and then to -10. It goes from 450 to 525. Your dendritic growth zone, your DGZ, where your main snowfall production zone is going to take place. This is where the snowflakes are made, ladies and gentlemen. This is the prime spot. It's where it matters most in the atmosphere for snow. And you need to be saturated well all the way from down here. And you can see you're not completely. You are from the mid levels lower, but here, from the mid to upper levels, you're not. And so that would be the concern here with some of these New York soundings is it's just not going to accumulate all that well. Almost a white rain maybe for some people. But then it does start to, as some of that more cold air comes rushing in. But at the same time, look how dry you are here on these soundings, right? You're getting colder, your denser growth zone's dropping, but you are not saturated at all. This is not snow, ladies and gentlemen. You will not snow with your dew point line being so far away from your temperature line. You need these two to be much closer, and you're not. Then as this moves through, this band looks to appear better saturated. This is heavy snow. You can see you're well saturated from your dendritic growth zone to the south, or below that, sorry. And you're not getting too close here as well. So that's a good heavy snow sounding. So there will be some on the backside. So there'll be some accumulating snow, but it will not be 10-to-1 ratios. And I really lean against some of these being able to like that. That's not going to do it. I'm sorry. You're not going to get accumulating snow being so unsaturated there. Just maybe some light snow falling out of the sky there in the Berks, and then maybe some of these higher terrain places in Vermont. Even then, too dry. So show snow, it's not going to really accumulate that well. But then right directly behind it, notice we turn on the LES machine, right? LES, lake effect snow, in other words. What Bart says, one good thing about this storm is timing. It is not an astronomical high tide. Jesus, it's hard to say. Maybe just for me. Um, but yes, that's true. It's true. We're not looking at a major coastal flood event with this, which is promising. But right, we talked about it. We're pulling in all this cold air that wraps around the storm here. That wraps around. We get that westerly wind off the lakes again, and that's going to allow us to really get the LES machine going. Real strong wind here. So some of these bands might be able to make it pretty far inland too. Could have some upslope potential here in Vermont. So I'd keep an eye on that. But Ontario and Erie get cranking again. At least on that sounding maybe. Here we go. You can see here, this is pretty far east too. Almost past Tug Hill here. Um, Convective sounding too. I look at this, definitely some thunder snow. Look at your gradient here. You're getting real cold. You're going to be colder, so you're already in the mid 20s. You were never in the mid 20s. There'll be less of a grapple threat likely with this one, if I had to guess. And those bands get cranking here. That was a band off Ontario. Let's see if we can pull another one. Can we? We can indeed. You can look at that gradient there. Just right. It's really about your temperature gradient from 850. You can see here, right, Matt, right. This is the vertical column I like to draw always. This is the sounding that depicts that. And here's your 850 line right here, and then down to the surface. That thermal gradient is really where the magic is made. You can see your dendritic growth zone here from 20 to -10. So that's where your main snowfall production. You can see how much lower it is too on these soundings from the previous, right? So much more upper level cool there to work with. And you look here and say, well, this line, Brady, you just said that be close, but look where your dendritic growth zone is. Your snowfall production is over here, and you're even saturated above that. So you just need to be saturated at the top of your dendritic growth zone to the surface. And if you are there, then you have no worries about being able to see significant lake effects now, which will be happening here. So likely 2 to 3. We're going to see multiple bands of 2 to 3 plus feet of snow set up. It's going to be really. It gets cranking right away. Right, you can see those the mid up in the Midwest, off the Great Lakes, they will get cranking as well too. And you can take a sounding here off here, and it goes really soon, right? Starts real soon. As soon as it moves out, lake effect gets going, and it'll last a while. Ontario might get going for might get crank for longer, but maybe some snow isolated snow showers or squalls from the lake effect snow will move across into Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, New England, and get moving. Uh, Produce some very light, brief snowfall as possible. But the LES machine will absolutely be cranking. We can take a look at one of those eerie soundings again. Those south towns just south of Buffalo will be really getting going. And I mean, look at that, -6 Omega. Um, and you can see how cold we are too in the upper levels. This is right. Your lift. You need lift present in your dendritic growth zone as well to get real heavy snow. Right. We talk about again. Right. This is our vertical snapshot of the atmosphere for those that or just coming in and trying to understand what I'm looking at. This is a vertical column of the atmosphere from the top here, right? Here's your surface, your right for your location, and about 1,000 millibars, and here's the top of your atmosphere here. That's what it's measuring, and we look at this, and 100 gross zone from in this range, you know, for a regular snowstorm. Um, but here you can see in lake we have so much upper level cold air that moves through, and your moisture off the lakes, and that's your difference here. So that moisture of those, warmer along with your cold temperatures coming from right in the upper levels here that come in down to the surface, that thermal clash really allows for signal those dynamics to really get, um, and they often get more focused in the lower levels of the atmosphere versus the upper or versus the mid levels, which we oftentimes look to when it comes to heavier snow. But look here, I mean, minus 7, omega here. And the steeper this temperature line is, and we oftentimes we look at for thunder snow potential in Space Cape here, mid-level Cape as well present, um, suggesting that thunder snow will be possible, if not likely. So for those that see how we're doing in our poll here. Over, under, over. Everybody taking the over so far. Over 33.5 inches of snow for the lake effect snow. Right, they can be anywhere, Erie or Ontario, highest total. I'd agree. I'd agree. I'd say I think it would be. I think it will be over 3 feet. I think it will be over 3 feet. But yeah, we can look at. How about Jim Tory thundersnow? We'll play the sound. I don't need to copyright it, but all right. You want to know is this is what it is right here. There's your thunder snow. Boom, boom. Right, you can see them all fired up. Like classic clip always. All right, this is what dreams about here for thunder snow, right? And then this was in Plymouth. Um, I was sleeping during this time um, when this band hit, unfortunately. So I didn't get to see it happen. Unfortunately, I would have for sure. Thunder snow out there. I was younger and naive. Cantori all fired up. All right, so this people get to do this. Let's see, Buffalo weather, thunder snow. This guy, he's got some good content. You can follow him on. There's a That's an old clip from him. Do you have any recent ones? Let's see here. Mm, shorts will have it for sure. No, Roar. This is a great Buffalo content person for sure. And whatever. 2022 blizzard was a ton of thunder snow as well. Multiple that hit there. That winter they had big thunder snow then. But yeah, thunder snow will be a threat. With this as well. So I'll be curious to see. I'll be southeast of Watertown, near Barnes Corners, east of Adams. Where it's time, yes, yes. I feel like this is a great time to do my daily promotion. I am This was my lake effect chase here. You can see this was the video called Watch My Intent. I was in Adams, New York, that last effect event. So I won't be back for this one, but you can check it out. It was brief, but it's kind of cool. It highlights the meteorology a little bit, and gives you an idea of um, what to look for um, when you're getting into those bands, and how quickly conditions can just deteriorate real fast. When you get into those lake effect bands, and though they can really get intense, man. Thunder snow in that clip, unfortunately. Hate to spoil it, but lots of fun in a brief image. You can kind of watch me vlog some of my moments there. But yeah, just east of Adams too will be great. Just in the interior always does, a little bit better with these lake effect snows just off the coast. So my man Bart here on Twitter, he'll be somewhere around here, just inland, and just inland oftentimes does better. Here might be a little bit further inland, and then here, right, here's your Erie band, here's your Ontario band, and these things will be cranking, man. They will be cranking. I mean, we're talking 4+ inch per hour snowfall rates easily, if not higher, at times, and that may woof. We will be cranking for sure. I mean, take a look at this sounding off Ontario. This one's gonna be maybe not. Brady's wrong. Oh, this one. There you go. Just absolutely cranking, right? You can see, right? You don't need to be saturated in your upper levels of the atmosphere. That's what makes snow so unique, right? Your moisture source is right off the lake. That's where you get, and boom, you can see it's above your dendritic growth zone, and you're super well saturated all the way down to the surface. 165 surface base cave 2 here. That's a convective snow sounding for thunder snow right there. Big time for sure. So again, thunder snow will almost be likely. And maybe a little bit of upslope here in Vermont. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Maybe a little bit. I mean, it's hard. Your -20 line gets here, go that far, you stay. Maybe some light snow. It's possible. A little bit of accumulation. You're well saturated from so maybe some. Let's see there. You can look at some of those snowfall, man. We can look at we'll go here and then X, and then we'll look at the snowfall here, and then we'll look at the pattern. Again, we like checking in nightly. Look at Grok there. Jesus, AI is getting crazy at the twin end. Right, here's a good extreme impacts. Right, this is the guy I was talking about. You can follow him on Buffalo Weather. He's a really good storm chaser and puts good content out there for Buffalo, big snow events, severe weather, etc. Whatever, big stuff's going on there. See, the extreme impacts, blizzard conditions, 40, 50 plus mile per hour wind gusts as well, like we briefly mentioned earlier. So blizzard conditions will be possible. What I completely forgot what I was going to look at. Something lake effect snow. Something lake snow. What are you going to look at? Totals. We don't even need to go to X for that. We got NWS Buffalo. Take a look at some of these big old snow totals that are going to be coming here. Won't be as impressive as that last forecast, but it'll be big. Let's see here. Boom. What they got? Is that let's see, 18 to 24. That's 3 to 4 feet they got. Yeah, they're forecasting over that off of Ontario, and they got 2 to 3 feet just in the south towns of Buffalo there. So, your Hamburg, Orchard Park, even further south along I-90 there, Dunkirk, and then just south of Watertown, You look at some of those places like Adams Center, uh, Mansville, Sandy Creek, along I-81 there, and in East Copenhagen. Name a bunch of towns there. They'll be the threat there for 1 to 3+ feet of snow, depending on where exactly those bands set up. And then just south of Buffalo too. We'll get back into it. So, and they're not going to get, these places aren't going to rain as well. So they're going to hold their snowpack well, and you're going to see some pretty crazy snowpack pictures come out of there, um, this this week. So I'll be very intrigued to see some pictures that do come out. Is your 1 in 10 higher? Is that 3 to 4? I thought they had 3 to 4 in the last one. Is that 30 to 30? 18 to 4, 24. Oh, it's 30 to 36. Well, whatever. 3 to 4 Ps is possible. Oftentimes, those big bands, they overproduce the snowfall forecast. Very rare we see the National Weather Service over forecast the lake effect snow. They just happened to do last time, just a little bit, at least location wise. It was a little bit, just a tad south. The core of it. Ice accumulation forecast, nothing there. No ice accumulation forecast to worry about for these regions as well. So we can slide our way on, ladies and gentlemen. We can slide here. Let's talk about the pattern. So I can go back to X now. You might have noticed I threw out some long tweets. I threw some bold tweets out today. I'm not sure all of you read them, but we go to profile. We go here. Here's AI. We'll look at the AI. We'll look at AI again, showing something down the line. The thread's still kind of. I just put it out late, last night. See, what did we talk about? Yeah, so like, a lot of, like, you see it every winter. We here, just the same stuff gets reused all the time. All the time, it just gets reused, and it's just how it works. Here's an example of, remember this one here, January 2022. Big old snowstorm for the Mid-Atlantic that, really I thought it was going to be a chance for the Northeast. 5-6 days out in the longer range. Always a little bit of dirty dancing when you get out that far forecasting, but it ended coming offshore completely, and almost pretty much it was nothing, and then people threw it off 4 days out, said nothing. Maybe this person here admitted, he said Southern Mid-Atlantic, maybe as a shot. He even quoted his own tweet, so respect to that. But I was like, yeah, this is what people do. They jump ship. They jump ship on symptoms, on setups, and they jump ship on patterns, and jump ship on winter. That's just how it works. You got to stay the course. Just because you get a big snowstorm now doesn't mean it's going to be full of big forward. It's just how it works. And then in regards to teleconnections, I had a person mention to me, you can't see snowstorms in warmer patterns. It just doesn't happen. And I was like, that's BS. That's just not true. That's just not true, like, whatsoever. I'm sorry, you can't. There's no way you can possibly say that. We a lot of times, a lot of those, we talked about it literally just the other night. Some of those best snowstorms can come from when you're really warm the day before. I highlighted some examples. These were just a few. February 2016, February 2017, January 2022, the one we just talked about, November 19 1987 was another big mid-Atlantic one, um, where people were 70 to 80 degrees and ended up seeing over a foot of snow. So it's funny how. And I said, you know what? Let's go down the rabbit hole here. Um, this person, I actually person because I don't know what they are, but I like this for the impact they inspired me to make. Go back through all this data and figure out for the upcoming, 7 to 15 days, how many snowstorms with the current teleconnections we have. So I said, you know what, we are going to be in a positive PNA and AO. So even though our Pacific, is shut off or is, turned on, we're still in a positive PNA, believe it or not, in terms of teleconnections. And we do have a weak positive NAO as well. So we're going to be in a positive NAO and potentially go back to negative NAO maybe later it's next week potentially, or at least some point into the second half of December. That's a little more up in the air for now, but I was like, what's happened before? And you can see all these different examples of massive snowstorms that have happened that, it's like, all right, so that's happened before. It's possible. Not that I didn't know that. I was just like, let's provide some context. I talk about all the time. Why not bring up the example? So if I added, we're in an ENSO neutral right now, leaning towards La Nina, but we are in an ENSO neutral. They have not declared a La Nina is in place currently. They said there is like a 50-50 chance of a La Nina happening, just above 50 in our forecast, but likely to remain around neutral, if not maybe a slight weak La Nina for most of the winter. So I was like, we're going to be ENSO, we're not going to be changing ENSO neutral over the next week, really. So I was like, what are we going to be looking at here? A lot of these same snowstorms, that categories again. Boxing Day blizzard, 2010, blizzard of 96, January 1978 blizzard, March 7th, 2018, old snowstorm there for a lot of people. 2005, blizzard of 78, February, blizzard of 2016, or as many of you know it as Jonas. March 5th, 2001 was a non-interior snowstorm for people. Now we're going to be in MJO phases 6 to 7 as well, transitioning from 6 to 7 potentially during this time. If not, we're going to be in one of those two time frames, which is not 8, 1, 2 are typically the most favorable time frames for the MJO for Northeast snow lovers. You look at this context too. 1993, 2011, March 7th comes up again. Again in part 2, President's Day blizzard. Blizzard 96 again, December 20. And I was just like, this is just not true. So I was like, talk about it a lot, but let me go find some data to show. To make this kind of hard to rebuttal here. So I was like, it's just not what they said. And it claimed as like an argument, and it's not. So I don't like want to go like too deep. I don't know, and so it's not worth it. But like it's like I don't know how you can say something that's just so completely not true and you think it holds. Yeah, how you could think that could hold weight for that. Claiming that you can't get snow in like not good patterns. So here's what we got cooking for over the next. I thought that was a good segue because it highlights my point of there's gonna be not always good patterns, and you can still get snow on the greatest pattern, but we're still gonna have a chance for snow. We'll have chances. So we get cold air that moves through. You can look here. And cold air that does move through, but we're not going to be again positive NAO, so you don't have a lot of high latitude blocking here to really lock in some of these storm tracks here. And you're also a weaker positive PNA as well. So you're not going to be able to lock in some of these storm tracks here. So you would really need to time this up. You would have needed to get something kind of locked here under this time frame closer. You would really need to lock this under this high pressure. We'll see. It's harder to move this high pressure out than it thinks. I would lean towards potentially this system a little bit more interesting for people further east, um, given it is hard. And you can see how moving it is because the high pressure is located to its east as well. We really, this cold air sinks in behind it. Um, and it really, really until it can eventually push north because we don't have high latitude. We don't have a Canada block behind this here. So that's whatever comes of that kind of moves out um, in terms of snow potential there. I'd still keep an eye on that, even though it's going to miss time and it ends up worrying about rain and stuff. Let's see this time frame. Yeah, that's interesting, but I don't like how far north our 540 line is there. So that suggests you don't have a good opportunity to convert on that one too. So we might miss a couple here, um, and we might be possibly, and we might just not have some snow opportunities for the next week or so. But then it start to get interesting once we start getting it's closer to this time frame. I really think we might have something cooking here, ladies and gentlemen. There's some consistency here with models starting to show a deeper trough forming and potentially, a bigger storm somewhere in that pre-Christmas time frame, that 20th to 22nd kind of time frame. I might lock it in tomorrow, not as a threat. Um, and it's harder to see here at this, but there is definitely much something there, and you can kind of see it. It's a late bloomer on that run, but somewhere in this time frame here, this 20th to almost time frame here, there could be an opportunity. For some, you can see you have your high pressure, and I'd be really skeptical that thing just moves the high pressure out. I mean, you do have a pretty big eastern blocking that comes down here, so I guess it makes some sense. But I mean, you do have this block here locked in, and so I would, you know, you have the high pressure that moves in um, with a deeper trough. So that's kind of the base essentially to watch down the line in that time frame. You can look at different models, what they show. Canadian, I don't know if the Canadian's quite out that far yet. It is out that far. Son of a gun. And boom shakalaka. What do you know? Canadians got a big old storm too. Really just depends on the time frame with this, right? But even if you did get an unfavorable storm track and you have your high place, you can still get a good old front end thump. And even with this high pressure, I would lean against it being able to make it, so far north here. But keep an eye on that 20th to 23rd time frame, maybe for one or multiple potentially. Down the line, if we slide here, OZ, we're out to 240 now. Nice, very nice. Bear Heights, go to 500. And you're highlighting, something to keep an eye on as well, right? Big old trough gets going, big old piece of energy gets dumped. A little bit too late on that one, but you can see there's going to be maybe something to keep an eye on as we move to maybe a little bit more favorable of a setup in terms of the base value here. That 20th to 23rd time frame, and we looked at the Euro AI, joked around a little bit, but it was um, it was intrigued by that idea, and still is. Euro AI has been, this is so far out, and some pretty good consistency here. Not too bad. It's that one, but you can see that's not terrible. It's not good, but Euro AI is kind of consistently showing something. You know, something's going on in this 20th to 23rd time frame potentially. So I think this is really when we can start maybe transitioning into looking at, um, even though it's not a great pattern, we might be able to get something out of this still. So let's keep an eye. So you can see we get boom, boom. This is a really interesting. You get a polar vortex. You get a stretching here. Look at you get a polar vortex stretching event to take place, and yeah. Look at the Euro AI here. Big old western. This is real interesting. If this were to take place, that's a hell of a look right there. That's a big old polar vortex stretching event you get. Right, we talk about the more you can stretch that polar vortex, the more you weaken it. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. That's a look. That is a look for sure. Gotta tweet that out. Can't miss that one, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Yeah, that would be something. That would be something. I think we got to keep an eye on that. We got to keep an eye on that time frame. We got ensembles. You can see the GFS though showing as well. That stretches here on the GFS ensemble here as well. Oh no, slide back. There we go. Vamos. So it's there. Let's see. This is 0Z. The 18Z look like, right? Z had it. 12Z. 6Z. Just over the course of today, the GFS ensemble shows that polar stretch. Exact same time. Maybe we can compile a tweet here. Maybe. Let's go to GFS maps. Go to ensemble. See what the Euro ensemble 12Z would be. But 0Z is already cooking, man. These on. I love the new Euro, man. It's wrong. I'm okay. It's got it too. Son of a gun. This would be a little bit too far east, but it is ensemble mean. You have to remember it's not one run. Let's get AI. Let's get AI back in here. I don't think the Canadian goes out that far, unfortunately. Gimme. Boom, boom. Again, this is the 20th to 23rd, so maybe something to keep an eye on. Go here to biscuits. I want to see what the operation. Kind of shows it, like we talked about, but doesn't really get a full. You don't get that stretch is a little too late on this run. A little too late. It's minor on this specific OZ run. 12Z run though. You see, it gets more of a stretch there on that run. The ensemble, Euro ensemble from 12Z today was showing it. So, see, OZ, GFS. All over the place. All over the place. So, but 1993 was phenomenal. Love that storm. I was a youngin'. I was not present on this earth yet. So, do with that what you will. I can only have the stories for that one, but they upped the tornado risk for southern New England. Well, the thing I didn't say was, Gallant, how we doing? How we doing, my man? I appreciate you you rolling with me here, um, along with my boy John. Shout out YouTube. Still here. Let's take a look. Day one. Oh, did they? No, they upped the wind. I don't see the tornado risk though, but they did go slight here. But there are no tornado risk not there for southern New England here. I wouldn't say it's non-zero, but I would say it's pretty limited. Maybe there's a chance though. What we friggin' I don't know if they reported it, but I had the severe weather folks talking about one that happened in November. Out here, was it Mashpee maybe? But yeah, this is the primary tornado threat for tomorrow. But yeah, it's the new. Let's read that storm prediction outlook there. Tornado. Wind. Let's take a read. There's a slight risk of severe thunderstorm for parts of South New England. Isolated. Let's get the pen tool here too, though. Oh, I can't move the screen when I do that, so let's bring it. Thermodynamic deficiencies that are expected. High-end wind field exists with flow varying gradually and increasing rapidly magnitude with height, resulting shear will favor supercells with any semi-discrete storms with linear organization expected and overall mixed mode evolution. Damaging wind gusts. A few tornadoes are expected across eastern North Carolina. Weaker flow aloft in Florida suggests limiting southern extent of slight risk into far northeastern South Carolina. Risk ends by afternoon, and then mid-Atlantic, southern New England. Low top forecast remains stable. The potential couple hundred joules a cape above 850 to 900, sufficient for occasional / sporadic lightning. So they're saying lightning is possible. Remember, you don't need lightning for a thunderstorm. Fun fact. Lightning is not required for thunderstorms. Um, Meanwhile, extremely strong low-level flow is expected, which will support very fast-moving convection. Given the setup, trough tilts negative, will raise the wind risk to 15%. So they're getting on with gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour expected in those cells. So I would expect the National Weather Service to raise their map to kind of fall in accordance. Really, the SPC is the big dog. So those local offices, National Hurricane Center, Storm Prediction Center, they're really the big dogs when it comes to their forecast. So oftentimes you'll see them align their forecast, um, with what they got. Let's see, NWS Boston wind map. They have one out. Maybe we gotta go back to X. Back to X, ladies and gentlemen. Where was I? What was I gonna do? NWS Boston. Those of you still on YouTube, I would appreciate leaving. It was always greatly appreciated. We're gonna again expand out this winter and get cooking. We're covering all the big storms. All these big storms we're gonna be covering this winter. So let's see. It looks like they updated their wind map from last night, and they did up it a good amount. So this was their updated from 20 hours ago, from 4:30 a.m. Their 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust threat extending back. Um, you know, back into almost Hampshire County. Um, and there's 8 mile per hour threat. This should be higher. I'm sorry, this area should be higher. There's a real good shot for higher gusts. They're going to play it conservative though. There's a little bit of an inversion, and they have been burned before on some of those forecasts with storms specifically. So I would like for some 60s to be on the map, 60 to 65 to be on the map. Just raises the concern level, I think, a little bit more, because I think there should be some worry with this, because there is some real damaging threats here with this system in terms of the wind, for sure, like we talked about. They're real threats. They're real big. Huge threats, massive threats. But yeah, so that's our storm. That's our storm, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's coming through. Again, we talked about it. Heavy rain, thunderstorms are possible, potentially severe thunderstorms out in front of that squall line, and during the squall line from the Carolinas up into New England. And then we'll have snow backside. Snow on the backside moves through. This will move north. That changeover happens. All right, so some rain for some of these low lake effect locations, but you'll quickly switch after not too long to some snow likely, and then you come through on the backside with the lake effect. We get real cold on that as well. I can demonstrate that we get real cold. A lot of teens and 20s, for people waking up Friday morning. So it will get cold. and 12K, and we do not get warm on Friday. Maybe our coldest day of the year, maybe on Friday yet, or sorry, of the season. Coldest day of the season potentially here Friday. You see, we don't get above the 20s for a lot of people. Maybe even top out at 30. So it'll be cold. And then on Saturday it will be cold as well, very cold. So our weekend will be. You can see again, a lot of people struggle to get above freezing. Yeah, across a lot of the Northeast and a lot of the Mid-Atlantic will struggle to get out of the low 40s or even hit 40 maybe. So and then yeah, again, it's gonna that cold air remains relatively in place depending on the storm system through. Then maybe we get a little bit more above average. So I should say, as those storm systems move through, we start to get more towards average and above average potentially again. Once we start getting into the middle part of next week. So yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got cooking right now. Let's see. I can't guarantee I'll stream tomorrow night. I might not have power. So if I might be just tracking the storm, or maybe we can do it. Maybe we can do a quick live, break down what's going on. Still, I'll try to at least. But if I lose power, I won't be able to go live. Um, so hopefully not. Um, hopefully we can get the strong wind still, but not have too much damage. And keep. I'm fine, whatever strong wind, and doesn't really bother me too much. Just don't just want to be safe and power tomorrow night. That is the goal, to not lose power. We had some people saying they want to lose power. It's like I hate to break it to you, even when you do lose power for your house, schools have backup generators. So times you're going to be going to school still. It's better to sleep with the power on, in my opinion, than off. Especially when it's going to get real cold after. Just my opinion, but some people like to get real gritty. Real gritty. So boom, yeah, we can get real. How far did this go out? Look at that national blend of models there. Hour 261. There's all your snow. Have some fun. Oh yeah, that's what we have for right now. Let's another great stream. Clap it up. If you didn't like, if you're new, consider subscribing. If you've made it this far, again, we're gonna be covering all these big storms this winter. Snow, rain, whatever for the eastern U.S. primarily. We're gonna be covering it. So get ready. If we have the snowstorms coming, I'm telling you, we're gonna grow real big on this channel. We're gonna get big, especially on YouTube and on X. You guys know, those analysis tweets are never gonna stop. They'll keep coming your way, and we'll keep doing the lives, multi-stream to X and YouTube throughout this whole winter, and we'll keep it there. So I appreciate everybody that came in, and